Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Whoever this is watching, I don't know who the hell is watching these videos, but anyways, we're back on the Colorado. Got a bunch of time now on my hands, at least this weekend. So yeah, let's get into it. So we're starting here with the fuse panel and the switch panel. I guess I'm calling this the fuse panel right here because it has relays and fuses. And anyways, I don't like running one wire back and forth as far as a switch for the fans, for example. I don't like running just one wire here and then one wire there. Kind of want to get an organized list of wires and loosely tie up a loom and, you know, have everything more organized instead of just having wires going to different random places. Kind of like a little freeway or highway for wires, you know. Anyways, I'm rambling on. So I gotta run a wire from the battery to give this block power. Just run this negative back to the chassis ground. The battery will also be grounded straight to the frame or whatever. So starting there, we got this loom of wires here, which is kind of the wires that used to be in the engine bay, and I did not like it in there because one, the heat, and then two, just the grime and grease gets all over the wires and the fuse block up there. So I moved it inside, much more cleaner look right here, obviously. So now I got all these wires. These are just grounds. So these grounds just go straight to the battery ground on the fuse box, fuse panel, whatever you call that. But these other ones I gotta differentiate. So these purple wires, one of them is for the boost control solenoid. So this one is a ground switch, and pretty much gotta run this back into the engine bay, and then I gotta pull a positive, fused positive, and run that wire also back to the control, the solenoid. And then I got another purple. This one's for the electric fans, just a control switch. This also needs to go to a relay, or just this one. So I'll at least use one relay so far, and I might change instead of the fuel relay, because this Haltech harness has an integrated relay box, and it is being used. There's a nice melted fuse in here. That's nice. Anyways, so there is relays in here, but you know, I kind of like to do things differently. These are very simple relays that I can get at the parts store, and I think these are too, but anyways, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I can just at least remove two of these and have more room on this panel, probably, and just keep two here. But anyways, gotta run these. These are all fused powers for the Elite 1500, so these just need to also go onto my fuse panel here, and then these plug right into the existing Haltech relay and fuse box. I know it's kind of doubling up, I guess, looking at it from this perspective, but I'm not a wire nut guy. Wiring's kind of the last subject on my to-do list, so I'm not really fancy with that. But I don't know, this is a lot easier to add junk to. Instead of this, I gotta pull this box apart and run wires individually into the sockets of the fuses. But right here, I can just use a Phillips screwdriver and move stuff around a lot easier. So this is kind of more for the engine control anyways. You got, you know, injectors, you know, power for injectors or ignition. So these are actually kind of being used already. But there is two spaces. But like I said, I gotta crack this thing open just to rewire a relay. When I can just do this right here, same smell. So that's kind of my thought on that. I'm not a race car builder, I'm just a guy in a garage, so we're gonna roll with this, what I can do and accomplish in a timely manner. So that's the plan right now. I gotta get my notebook and start laying out some wire. Oh man, I did forget about these. We got switches on here too. So on this shifter, there's also more switches that I can use. Don't have to use them, but you know, I just got the shifter just to have them. So we got 4 wires here that I'll probably just dead end and zip tie around, because my Haltech input and outputs are all maxed out. So I actually only have one more input left, and it's down there for a reason. I was gonna put the 2-step on a switch or something for 2-step, and then pretty much that's it for inputs. So yeah, that's where we're at. All right, so pretty much what I was trying to avoid kind of happened. Made a lot of progress, but we got wires everywhere in here. It's a mess. So I got the electric fan relay wired up. I'm using these soldering connections. I don't know. Oh man. So these are like heat shrink soldering connections I just got right off eBay. And you slide these on the wires and then twist the wires together. Slide this back in the middle, heat it up with the heat gun, and the solder in the middle melts away into the wire. And then it also seals at the same time. So they're color coded, those colors. Anyways, yep, that's what I'm using pretty much on every connection that I can. And then afterwards I tape them up where the solder was, because I don't know if the solder sometimes melts through the plastic outer shielding, so and might contact another wire or ground. So I just slap some tape on there for precaution. Don't have to worry about it or go back or troubleshoot, hopefully. So this will plug right into the one relay at least. So I got that going on. Got my ring eyelet terminals, and those will go to the fuse panel. Yeah, you get the memo. So we got that done. I got pretty much this mainly done. So we got my two wires here, which is for ignition feed to the switch, and then I have one wire going to the starter trigger, the trigger wire on the starter, and then we got another 14 gauge positive and ground, and that just feeds the whole, both top and bottom switches, and this bottom USB cheesy thing off eBay, whatever you call this. Anyways, feeds power and ground to those 2 circuits, 2 boards, so I can stuff like this light. Anyways, the switches are just to add some shit, some foo-foo stuff, or maybe to switch if the fuel pump or something, or we're gonna rearrange stuff. I have just more switches. Anyways, cool. And yeah, so we're rocking out, wiring up, just sitting here on the lift arm. Truck's still in the air. I still got all the suspension out. It's gonna be powder coated soon. I keep putting this off. I need to add more cross bracing and I have to weld this thing up. Anyways, we're on wiring right now, so I'm gonna be on this until it's done. So if I jump away, then I'll probably end up forgetting where the hell all this shit goes. So we got more stuff done, like this wire will feed the power to the boost control solenoid, boost solenoid. I don't know why I have to say 10 different words, but anyways, now I'm on to organizing all these wires. So I just kind of ran the wires from the components, kind of estimated their length to their termination point, aka the fuse panel mainly. And a lot of stuff is long and extra, like this is a Haltech harness for the CAN bus for the wideband, but it's also a harness for power and ground. So ignition, little eyelet will go to the switch, and then I ran another wire, because before I went to ground on the chassis, but now I'm just running every ground back to this fuse panel here. All those little screws on the left, so they'll be all grounded out. So I'm running my grounds that I can inside the cab back to that. Yeah, so, but it's really long. This length is, I mean, shit, man, I can run this shit back to the truck tailgate. Anyways, so that's what we got going on. Okay, here we go on another day. Just got done after work working on the Colorado here, so working on this wiring panel. besides running the main positive and ground, battery positive and to the chassis ground, pretty much everything is done, kind of loosely wired up, kind of tied everything up a little bit, kind of a half-assed wiring job. Until the truck's running, I don't really want to wrap wires so confidently that it's going to be a pain to take them apart if I have to move something or change something until the truck's running on its own. So anyways, that's done. We got the switch panel wired, or pretty much slapped in here with the shifter. So I totally forgot that this shift cable goes forward off this shifter. So luckily it was in a place where I got the gauges set up correctly, and I just punched a hole right there and then another hole through the floor. So kind of real simple shit here, just not trying to over engineer stuff or have to spend a whole week just on one thing. So just kind of doing the simplest solution that I think looks the best. And anyways, got a little rubber hose here as a grommet to against the aluminum. So shifter works. It's actually connected to the trans, so that's first, second, and then you have to pull the lever to third, and then all the way forward to first. You can push it, and then I don't know if I can do this with one hand or not. Oh god, pull it and I push it. Yeah, so I push the reverse, pull the lever, and that's how you get into neutral, I believe. I think that's neutral, reverse, and then park is right there. This thing has to be adjusted still. It almost goes into park, but I just slapped the cable on there just for shits and giggles. Anyways, I got these two wires hanging off. This goes to the ignition on this top switch here, so those just need to be screwed on. This dash is loosely on here. It's just sitting right here for the moment, just so I can get a visual eyeball. This stuff isn't actually mounted. But anyways, there we go. I still have the, heater box controls because this thing will still have heat. So I just remembered I have to pull the dash out again, at least this plastic, to put the HVAC pipe in here. Anyways, not a big concern. Kind of knew that anyways, but yeah. So right on the other side we have the main harness, kind of snakes back there. Kind of laid it out on the motor, and this is my new wire loom for, I can't remember, so I'm pretty much just ran wires pretty long so I could figure them out later once I get into the engine bay here. So this is the last of it as far as what's needed to run. So this one will go to the starter terminal, kind of label these separately. This one is boost solenoid, positive, 12 volts, and this blue one is the ground switch for the solenoid. And then this one's the E-fans. This is the big power coming from the relay up there in the wiring panel. So kind of labeled stuff really quick and just kind of guesstimate really roughly with an extra 2 feet of wiring at least for each component. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Just kind of put some plugs onto those. Not a huge deal. Kind of wrap them around this area and come out to here where the radiator fans will be. And then the boost solenoid is down in here. So not a whole lot left to do. Shit, what else do I have to do? Oh, I need to mount. Actually, I gotta mount my fuel pump on the frame. It's just an inline Aeromotive 1000 or something. Pretty big pump. But I gotta run a wire to the wiring panel here. Not too bad. It already has a plug on it. Coming from the Haltech harness relay, not my own relay. It's already been running. So that's kind of the lucky part, is this truck's already been running for a while, or actually not a while, for a short time. So everything's been figured out already as far as wire allocations on the Haltech. So anyways, my big things to do for wiring left is to run my battery cables, shut off switch, fuel pump wire, and finish those wires that I got ran through the firewall into the engine bay that I just got laid out over the headlights. I gotta put plugs on those, and then that's it. I say that's it, but it's probably not it. Welcome back to another day, or welcome back, or hey, I can just say it's another day. We got some Jack Daniels. What a better time to work on the Colorado than buzzed on a couple shots of Jack Daniels after a stressful day at work. So here we are. We're gonna work on the rear. We're gonna weld on the rear axle housing. That's what we're gonna do tonight. Baby steps, right? Baby steps. Little baby steps. Oh yeah. So what better time to work on your Colorado or your drag truck when you're a Colorado. You know, when you're buzzed on Jack Daniels. So anyways, I'm just adding a tube and just finished welding that. Oh shit. I actually got to add a gusset onto this tube. So I posted on a Facebook page my rear end, and one guy commented and made a good point that I got a lot of axle tube after the bracket here, both sides. I need to gusset. You know, the housing's good, gusseted to the pumpkin, but so I got this C channel here, way too thick, probably really not the right shit that I want to use, to be honest, but again, garage build. So we're gonna cut a small section for that. Probably not all the way to the axle tube because the brake caliper kind of sticks out, and I think I just need to get like a, I don't know, solid 9-inch section here where it just gusseted with the C channel. And for example, this stuff will pretty much, oh, it's heavy, just kind of sit up like that. Pretty half-ass shit, but I mean, it's all I got. And so that's what I'm going to use. I don't have a whole lot of material here. I do have a lot of 1/8-inch plate that I could cut and plasma cut a box section out properly, kind of like how the other box section is, but nobody's got time for that, and honestly this thing's not running like 8-second quarter miles or anything fancy, so you know, it'll do its job just fine. So let's get on to that. Alrighty, got the ends TIG welded on, just mild steel. Well, it's not focusing. Anyways, yep, and we got the gusset on there. So on both sides, just kind of initially welded that on. But yeah, I got the housings pretty much TIG welded on. And for a second pass, I was thinking about either TIG welding a second pass on there, or just using the MIG welder and just going over this in this groove. It's kind of a groove right there. Anyways, so yeah, we got the gusset on. Not the prettiest, we'll admit that. Definitely looks a little different, boxy shape, but I don't really care. And this little guy, oh, about stung the shit out of me. So, in my total life of living on Earth, I've been stung, I would say about 8 times by a yellow jacket wasp. So, time for payback. Oh yeah, yeah, you like that? Oh, got the wing. Oh, got the other wing. Alright, there you go. Perfect. Now you can't fly away. Yeah, you'll live. I may be a cruel person to a wasp, but you know, if that thing landed on me, I bet $1,000 I think that thing would sting me right in the arm. No doubt about it. No doubt. It's either me or you, buddy. Me or you. That is for sure gonna happen. And I got the upper hand this time because I, personally, at work, stepped on a live wasp, yellow jacket wasp nest inside, I can't really talk, inside of a bunch of clover and leaves that were kind of hidden. And anyways, long story short, I was running away basically, and I got stung 5 times. And I looked down my jacket, and there was, just on the front of me, there was about 40 yellow jackets just on the front of me, scrunched over, trying to get their needles through my jacket. And I had a black jacket on, so I could clearly see just yellow all the way down my front of me. And I was like, oh damn, there's probably more on the back of me. And it was not a fun experience. So the bee guy came out and it was like, yeah, this you know, eradicated the nest with some smoke and all that stuff, professional beekeeper stuff. And said, yeah, this nest had about 1,000 yellow jackets in it. And I stood right on top of it accidentally. And now I have a little bit of a bee. Only it's a wasp. If it's a bumblebee, you know, like a little honeybee, bumblebee, I don't care. But these yellow jackets can stab over and over, sting over and over. So now I have a little bit of PTSD, and somehow that little guy got in the shop. So anyways, I burned him a little bit, cooked his wings off so he couldn't go anywhere, because I do not screw with those things. I'm not a mean person. I feed ducks old bread, but damn, I had my own shitty experience. So that little sucker better be dead in the morning. Oh yeah, there it is. Good old Jags. This is what is this? 120 wall, 1.1 inch. Anyways, so I got this last piece of roll cage tubing left. Pretty much just gonna do something like this. Yeah, you get the idea. I don't have to put it up there. Anyways, so that's all that's left is to tube notch this, and I'll probably just cut it at 45 or something to figure out this angle. I'll probably tube notch it first and cut it pretty long and see what the tube does at this angle, because I can't just tube notch a 45 here, because this radius of this axle housing is kind of like a 45. So I don't know if the raw tube end will just butt up into this housing perfectly, or I have to cut some angle onto it. I don't know. I'm not a professional fabricator, but progress is progress. So making this diff a big heavy piece of metal iron, so hopefully it'll last. This truck isn't making insane power, so honestly I don't really have any doubts that this axle housing will be just fine. It's a Ford 9. I mean, come on. I mean, what was in there before? This is a huge leap. Huge leap. So it's another day today. It's on the weekend, so now I got time to work on this rear axle. God damn. We're not taking another take. Working on this rear axle. This is the first take, but my GoPro is about to dead, so that's great. Anyways, we got the rear axle bracing. Pretty much added these tubes here. That's still hot. Damn. So we got this tube in here. This tube kind of fully welded the bottom of the brace. Also, I also put, this is a second bead on there with the MIG. At first, I TIG welded these on. Initially, these housing ends, these are Mosier housing ends, just off Jags, nothing fancy. And just kind of using the metal that I have around. I put on this C-channel here that was leftover metal from the trailer, and pretty thick stuff. So after this bracket here, this section here is a lot of tubes sticking out, so had to brace that up on the back side. So I added that on both sides. I still have to put this drain plug in the bottom. Got a fill plug on here, but I gotta put this drain plug down here. on the bottom. Just gotta hole saw that out, weld this on really quick, not a big deal. Put caps on my tubes here, so the 1 5/16" roll cage tubing, 120 wall, which is both of these pipes. Put caps on those on both sides. Another gusset on this side, and I still gotta go over this on both sides. I need to go over this one more time with a TIG welder and just finish a 3rd bead on top and blend everything in. I burned it in pretty hot with the MIG welder, so all the way around. Anyways, not the greatest welds, just a guy in the garage with the crappy tools. So that's where we're at in progress there. Luckily I got not a whole lot more to go. Like I said, just add one more pass of TIG welding here, drain plug. Oh, and I need to get some 1/8 inch flat bar to just put back here. Maybe on the front side too, in front of these brackets maybe, but on the back side at least, something. Not a big deal, just cut that piece out, bend it to this radius of the bracket here, and then just weld it right there. And then I'll, at the time when I do that, I'll finish welding this, cap this off. So, got a lot done so far, and yeah, that's where we're at. Not the greatest at doing these tubes, getting the angles right. They're pretty close. I tried to do like 45 degrees, but on this axle, the reason why everything is shifted over, it looks like this tube lands differently on the pumpkin than this side, is because the pinion is centered to the brackets and the truck. So the pinion offset is like, it's like 2 inches, I guess. So that means everything needs to be shifted over, so the pinion is in line with the truck frame and the motor and trans. So that means it just looks funny from the back side of the backside of the axle housing. So there, this one's, I don't know, it's like 47 degrees, and this one's like more closer to 45. I don't know, it was close enough, and aesthetically it'll look just fine from the back end. So on this side it starts, kind of starts in there. I don't know why it doesn't go all the way in, but at least it starts and it's lined up nice and smooth. So that side goes in a little bit. I could punch it in all the way, but I don't. These pucks are kind of, had to lube them up and such. This side's much better, at least. It spins really freely. So that side's good. And this side starts, I don't know why it won't go in all the way. It gets tough. It goes in halfway. But I mean, if it's off by that tiny amount, you know, it starts and goes in there. So it's off by that tiny amount. I'm sure the axle will be just fine. Well, I guess I could turn it in all the way. Oh, yeah, there's probably some slag in there or something, but I think that's good enough, straight enough. I don't think it has to be super picky, so had to cut my brace here to allow the axle to bend. And anyways, I gotta go to church, so I gotta go. All right. Anyways, before I forget, because I know I'm gonna forget later, leaving off in that housing end, I think it was hot. I think it was still warm from me heating up the axle tube and putting ice on it to warp it back up into shape. Anyways, just wanted to say that because that's where I left off, and we're on our way to church, so there's that. At least I have absolutely no time to myself other than just working on work and my Colorado truck and life, and nothing else in between lately. So I've been spending just about every night after work on that thing to try to get 2 hours here, 1 hour there, 2 hours this morning. So I'm trying to get some headway on it so that I'm in a comfortable position where I know that I can actually run the thing during the summer or sometime this soon. And anyways, yeah. puck was lined up, it'll go halfway in, so at least I know that it's lined up good. And probably when it's cooled down after I get back from church, it'll probably be just fine. It'll be like the other side where it goes in nice and smooth with some WD on it and rotates. So anyways, I'm done with it. I'm gonna weld up the gusset again where I cut it to relieve it, to allow the axle tube to move. So there's that. If I were to rate myself on my confidence of this axle, as far as my skills go and what I've done with it, I'd definitely give it like 8 out of 10. I'd trust it, you know, it's pretty straight, done the best I could. It's been a lot of time, a lot more time than I anticipated, really. I thought this was just going to be slap some tubes on it and go, but there's actually a lot of time and skill you have to control with the heat as far as where you weld. And I was torching the axle to bend it back into shape with heat and ice cubes, so not out of the norm, but just kind of scary when you do it for the first time because you don't want to screw it up, because I'm not made of money. Anyways, yeah, I mean, these brackets, these things are fancy. These brackets are usually on some $250,000 cars, and this thing here, yeah, we won't say how much this was. It was 600 bucks. That's why I bought it. So I don't know if you guys have been following along or not, because I make shit content. But anyways, I bought the truck for 600 bucks with a blown motor. Didn't even run, and it was completely stock, every single part of it. And anyways, not the usual rig that you put these axles under, but hoping to have my fun with it and actually make a use out of it. So yeah, just need to sandblast this old girl up and get her powder coated or painted or whatever's cheapest. So that's pretty much the axle build right there. I got these heavy suckers. These are Speedway 35 spline cut to fit axles. You can see my cutting right here. They say to cut it with a cold saw or something, but you know, I just used the grinder and took my sweet time. And anyways, these are supposedly forged axles, real budget friendly axles, 35 spline, so you know, they'll go all the way down to 28 spline, but since I'm pretty much building my own rear end, I opted for a carrier with 35 spline, and I don't think I'll ever shear these things because these are some beefcake axles. And I got the forged Mosier wheel studs to go with it, because I know wheel studs is a pretty important thing, especially on the back tire of a drag truck. So yeah, we got that, and you know, fresh bearings and stuff. I'm gonna have to clean everything with brake clean and re-grease everything, literally everything of the rear end before it goes all back together, because I don't want any dust or metal slag shit bouncing around to get anywhere where it's not supposed to be. So still trying to get these parts to powder coat, and I still need to finish TIG welding these chromoly bars. Haven't really had the time of day to really finish these. I just got them thoroughly tacked on there, but I ran out of stinking rod, so I need more rod to weld more. And in the meantime, I got a lot more things I can do, like bolt these fenders in finally, these wheel wells. They're just kind of sitting there with tabs on them, so I welded tabs on here so I can bolt them on and be removable. On top of that, I need to pretty much paint everything back here. Kind of sucks I got the truck in the air, but yeah. So sometime whenever it's sunny, probably next weekend, we'll get the cage painted, get this blue on here. I got blue in stock now, so I had to go get that. And then everything else down here will just be black. Black, 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 black. Everything will be painted black. And you know, some stuff I'll need to sand back down, or just take like an emery cloth and just go over it with some brake clean and clean it up, prep it for paint. Yeah, so you can see my structure for the back, if this is even showing up on camera. Just got a roll cage tube as a cross member, and it also holds the bottom of the aluminum bed, which I still gotta bolt that down. And oh shoot, I do have to put this trailer receiver on. Totally forgot about this until I just started recording. So yeah, we gotta put this trailer receiver shoot, probably just like that. I mean, honestly, it kind of fits flush at the back of the truck here. And might run some tubes that come off from where my thumb is in 45 back to this other roll cage tube or something. Yeah, that'll probably be good enough, actually. I'll probably just do that, to be honest. I'm not towing like a giant trailer or anything, but you know, I'm kind of haven't really got around to making a parachute mount, so I figured I'd just put a trailer receiver back here. That way I can tow a small trailer if I want to, or I can make an insert for a parachute mount, so whenever I get there. But I just wanted to do that so then in the future I have the ability to add on to this thing and not have to grind off all the paint and go back in here and do more welding, because I'm sick and tired of more welding on this thing. I just want this thing to be done. But yeah, it's a pretty cool view from back here. You see all the bars. Everything's actually surprisingly parallel to each other when you stand back to look at everything. Oh yeah. All right, I shouldn't get under there, else I'm gonna hit my head on something. So yeah, that's a wrap. Still waiting on wiring plugs to come in from eBay. Great old eBay. And man, the inside's done except for the wiring that I said I still had to finish. I kind of wanted to focus on this axle, so that took a little bit more time than I really expected, but you know, I had to do that to take my time because I don't really want to screw this thing up. So anyways, that's it for this episode, video, whatever people call this. So see you in the next one. I am so happy that this bar actually is so smooth inside this axle, not all bound up, because this thing was really stressing me out as far as it. Like, my worst fear is always thinking that I have to cut off at least one axle housing end to redo it because it was going to be so far off. But luckily, I got it pretty straight, I think, and the bar rotates pretty smoothly. Oh yeah, goes in and out. Oh yeah, that single life, baby. Got lots of practice with that. So, super happy. So my stress level with this project has come down quite a few notches with this rear axle. So, yeah. That does go back on there. Perfect. Yeah, anyways. I was welding with that thing, and I'm surprised this O-ring didn't melt, to be honest, because I was welding this bung on, this little filler neck thing, whatever you call it, and I'm surprised the rubber O-ring didn't melt, which is a true testament to what that thing can withstand. But anyways, I'm like the shittiest YouTuber, so I hate social media and the way it's going, and just I hate that whole aura, and I'm trying to be different, just kind of natural, doing this as a hobby. I'm not trying to make money or trying to show my ass off or anything to get views. I'm just kind of doing it as a fun little hobby, just because I think it'll hopefully turn out to be something fun. And yeah, so I pretty much stay in the garage half my life and hurt myself all the time and doing all this stuff by myself, learning the hard way. Oh shit, yeah. Oh man, this was a wicked day. I almost sauced my leg open today with a grinding wheel. This thing caught on the axle when I was grinding here. It caught on the edge of a bracket. God, where is that bracket at? I think it's on the other side. Anyways, it caught on the edge of one of these brackets, and this wheel just grabbed it and just yeeted right into my leg. And this thing hurt like a mother. I mean, it straight up took a chunk out of this thing. And this is usually a much fuller disc. There's actually like a 1/4 inch more or an 1/8 inch more flap disc to this thing, but absolutely sauced my leg open. These are nice new jeans, and of course me completely just sauced these things. Oh yeah, it's nice and red with that grinder full steam. Completely broke these pants open. So now I have a dedicated shop pants, and the cycle continues of my nice new clothes that only last so long before they're just torn to shreds. because of dumb accidents like this. At least it wasn't like an exploding disc and like smack my face with it or something. That'd be even more embarrassing. But definitely, you know, sets you into a panic mode, and you're like checking your Lego, like, oh my god, like looking for blood or something, you know, feeling if it's wet, you know, that wet feeling when you hurt yourself and you feel for wetness underneath it. Anyways, yeah, I'm just out here hurting myself and putting on YouTube. So anyways, see you on the next one.